Cool, we are live now. So, everybody, welcome to SuperRare Spotlight. And today we have Glass Crane with us, who's been a pretty prominent 3D artist for the past few years and been on SuperRare for how long have you been on SuperRare for?
I don't know what month I got on there, but maybe like 6 months or something.
Cool, yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. I think everyone's pretty excited to have you on here. I know I am. Talk
Thanks for
about
having me, man. I'm ecstatic. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is cool. So cool. Comments are going off on YouTube. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And let's get this started. So, we're going to talk about your new art a little bit today. We're going to talk about your VJ career. Personally, I know you from the festival circuit a little bit. I've seen your name a ton for VJing for some pretty prominent acts such as Tipper, Duffrey, and a lot of those kind of psychedelic, trippy electronic music artists. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's talk about your art and how you got into it. What was your first thought of wanting to be an artist and your expression in that?
So it all kind of started, around like 2010 or so. I was in a band. I was like the singer of a metal band, and we used to, tour pretty constantly. And in between tours, I'd always have to find a job and try to find a way to make ends meet.
Sure.
So I started doing like graphic design and stuff, creating album art and logos for bands. So it all kind of started in the music industry. But I guess the thing that kind of set me on my current path, making like art for myself and and like the trippy psychedelic art, kind of ties in with the VJ stuff. I went to see Tipper play in New York City.
Nice.
And that was my first time not only seeing Tipper, but Android Jones was doing visuals that night.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking up at the screen, just absolutely dumbfounded, like, man, I want to do that, So it's kind of like the VJ thing that set me on the path to creating art, which eventually led to me actually, having the opportunity to VJ and, VJ for Tipper, which is like, that was just mind blowing for me.
Right there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the path, just being inspired by others and, trying it out and seeing if I could do it myself.
Nice. Yeah, we have a similar story. Both do, I also was touring a bit with my project and needed to find ways to create art for it and make money when I'm, it's hard to have a stable job and tour at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's really difficult. Turns out employers get sick of your shit real fast.
Pretty quick. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I remember also the first time I saw some of Android Jones art and just being mind blown. Being like, how does he do this? And
he's the best, man.
Now he's on SuperRare doing this thing.
Yeah. No, he's cool. The shit.
Awesome, cool. So Android Jones, big influence. Who are some other artists that have influenced your style?
Oh God, so many. Ben Ridgway is another huge one. He's a really awesome, prolific, amazing artist. Totemical. Totemical's the shit. Yeah, I love that dude. He's so smart and he just knows. He knows seemingly everything about art and just how to draw the eye where it needs to go and his color work and his modeling. Yeah, he's the dopest.
It blows my mind. That's crazy. I just got a comment. My mic's quiet. Trying to turn that up. Keep letting me know if it's too quiet. I'll adjust as needed. Thank you. Cool, man. It's so cool how all these artists, especially from like the psychedelic culture or the festivals culture, are all here together in this NFT space.
Yeah. I've been making it like a kind of a personal mission of mine to try to bring as many of them as possible as well. Just because it's like the community there is just so tight knit and supportive. which I'm sure, you know, in other aspects of art, a lot of supportive communities like that. But just, I don't know, there's something about these people where, you know, we're all kind of in this together and helping each other. And
Definitely, man. Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess that brings us to, how did you discover NFTs and SuperRare? Were you already in kind of the crypto and blockchain space before this?
No, not really. Like, it's always something I kind of knew about.
Right.
But my man Ten Strip hit me up and he's like, "Yo, you got to check this shit out." It's called SuperRare, and you know, we ended up in, like, as soon as I kind of figured out what it was, I was like, "Oh shit, we should make a little something." So, you know, our first inclination obviously was to make a rare Pepe.
Yeah, nice.
Didn't fly really, but it was still kind of funny. But yeah, and once I kind of wrapped my head around it and, you know, started putting up some serious entries, you know, I started to realize just the explosive nature of this new community, and it's mind blowing, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I have this theory of how NFTs kind of spread into the festival culture. I feel like Burning Man is like this like melting pot between Silicon Valley and all this tech, and then like us more like electronic musicians and artists. I feel like it was like the logical next step, like the first wave, I think, of some artists finding out about this was gotta be Burning Man community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. Like, one of my biggest collectors, and also one of my new favorite people, Colin Goltra. You know, he's been collecting some of my artwork, and then when we really got to talking, turns out he's a burner. You know, and
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's really cool how those worlds kind of collide, and how the technology can kind of, and some of those like really radical ideas can stem from a place like that. You know.
Yeah, cool. I went to Burning Man for my first time, not this summer, but the previous summer. And,
I've never been. I want to go so bad.
Up next year, NFT SuperRare squad. We'll do a meetup there.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm into that.
Cool. Nice, man. So, yeah, I kind of the same here, where I was like aware of Bitcoin and crypto, but not super in the community at all until our mutual friend Nolan, who is a producer that goes by Frequent, was talking to him a bunch, and he mentioned you to me and was like, Glassgrain is like on this thing called SuperRare. It's crypto art. And I was like, crypto art? What's that?
Mhm.
And I remember going on after that conversation, going on to SuperRare and seeing your profile there. I'm like, oh, yep, there he is. And just really deep diving into it after that. That must have been in June or something like that.
You've been killing it too, man.
It's cool how our stories all kind of connect and weave through each other here.
Absolutely.
So you just uploaded yesterday, coming into the art now, this new piece, METACHROMATIC, and I will screen share real quick, and it's gonna stop the video of you real quick, but let's get this art pulled up. Boom, here we go. METACHROMATIC. Talk about this.
Yeah, so I've been kind of visualizing this new kind of color palette. You know, kind of my process for creating new artwork. It doesn't necessarily stem from something conceptual. You know, like, I didn't really know that I was going to be doing like a skull before I did it, really. The skull itself is actually something I was just kind of tinkering with a few weeks back. You know, like, one thing I learned from Android Jones is, you know, just to kind of just sit down, and even if you're not sitting there, you know, necessarily trying to make a piece, you know, it's helpful to, you know, just start making assets and just cool things, and just keep them in a folder and see how you can use them later and come back to them. But, you know, lately I've been kind of visualizing this, you know, matte black offset by kind of a rainbow of light or colors. That's kind of like, I feel like color palettes are kind of what drive me, which is funny because I feel like I know so little about color, and color theory. So it's everything I do is I'm kind of eyeballing and going by feel. But I knew that I wanted to do that kind of matte black rainbow aesthetic, and, you know, came across the skull in my little folder of trinkets and decided to start messing with some lighting.
Nice. Yeah, it looks great, man. I personally really like your style of 3D because, well, one, it's really unique and looks exactly like glass crane. You know, it looks like your art every time.
Thank
It's
you.
a very consistent aesthetic. Not that like you don't experiment and do all this crazy stuff, but like I can look at a glass crane piece and be like, oh, that's for sure glass crane.
Thank you,
Which I
man.
think is harder to do in 3D than people realize because we're like all limited by the same rules, and a lot of us use the same tool sets as like starting points.
For sure.
So it's really easy to get similar themes, similar aesthetics, and sometimes really similar art. We were talking a little bit earlier before we went live about kind of the issue in crypto art right now where 3D artists can watch a tutorial on YouTube that, you know, another artist puts out to help teach people, and they make this tutorial and someone watches it, they copy it step by step. And the thing about 3D that's different than drawing for me, and I think a lot of people, is you can watch a tutorial on drawing, but you still need to have the skill of the hand-eye coordination and all that muscle memory.
For sure.
With 3D, you can watch a tutorial and copy it step by step and get, you know, a pretty close approximation to what the, you know, art looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the thing with the tutorials is like, you know, I mean, obviously I followed a multitude of tutorials to get where I am today.
Sure,
You
sure.
know, and it's I think the key to differentiating yourself, especially as a 3D artist, I mean, it's a couple of different things. Like it's a lot of good in, good out as far as assets go. You know, using high quality HDRIs. You know, trying to get some of those assets that assist you in either lighting or materials or whatever, and manipulating them to be yours. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
pretty much every 3D artist uses an HDRI. It's like, okay, why don't you take that HDRI, bring it in Photoshop, edit it, make it something that no one else can really get, and also like, there's a focus on realism and stuff like that. There's a lot of just kind of, like the average thing that a 3D artist needs to do in order to make a piece appealing, as far as getting the reflections correct and that kind of thing. But I've started to realize that it's not always, you don't always have to kind of go with the herd. You can kind of let the 3D package take you where you need to go with it. Sometimes, a good piece, the difference between a good piece and not so good of a piece can simply be, altering a camera angle or, putting a light just that much far forward or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those little choices that kind of give you your signature, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting too. This is like I think one of the first times where, digital artists are really validated in the world of art. And say like a year ago, my like optimal career path would have been working for a company as like a concept artist or as making assets for video games or movies. What was that?
I say, yeah, like working in a studio or something.
Yeah, which is cool, but that like focuses on realism or focuses on like a specific style and stuff like that. I think what's cool about NFTs is that we're just able to create, and we don't have to focus on these things that corporations and whole industries think are cool and validate. We can kind of be validated by this little community right here.
Yeah, like I feel like this NFT space, I mean, to me, it feels like sprouting wings to a degree, It's like, I did, maybe 6-7 years of just straight freelance, which, I think it really helped me to be versatile. But, when it comes down to it, it felt like work,
Yeah, it does.
It was cool work. I was the boss, which is always nice. But, with NFTs and crypto art, it's like, man, these are people like collectors and people who appreciate what I make, and what I love to do, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's awesome. I wake up every day just excited to what I'm gonna show everyone next. Like, what can I come up with? Like, how can I outdo myself and try to blow people's minds and inspire as many new artists as I can, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like that environment is so much more conductive to creating like monumental, great art.
Yep, absolutely.
Where you just really, it just comes from the heart, and it's being created for the purpose of being created rather than to fit someone's image or to serve, a purpose in a pipeline or a hierarchy at a studio. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's take it back like a year in Glass Crane's life. Before NFTs, before SuperRare, what were your long-term goals? Like, where did you see your career going? What were your plans?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a very goal-oriented person. I would say like a year ago, I was really trying to get into the VJ thing.
Yep.
Which is its own journey, because there's a lot of people who helped me along the way, like Stephen Heyman and Keith Anderson, Fractal Visions.
Yeah.
Those two dudes really just were so generous and awesome, and taught me pretty much everything I knew. So it's like,
awesome.
The networking aspect is what's really helped me move forward. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to be as helpful as I can to other people, and in return, maybe they'll toss me a little something, a little bit of knowledge. So I'd say like a year ago was really just trying to gain as much knowledge as I could and try to kind of build my toolbox up so that I can execute different things.
That's interesting. I think networking, you feel like you take that same skill set and apply it to the NFT space as well, with like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very important. I believe anyone can get by on art alone, for sure, and people do. But I think when it comes to dealing with collectors and that kind of thing, it's just important to be transparent. You know what I mean? Like, keeping your intentions clear, and just making friends. Like, I feel like if you're not making friends in this whole process, you're just missing out on a really rewarding and enriching aspect of not only art but the NFT space, because it's just filled with immense amounts of talent. Like, I used to jump on Pinterest or like Designspiration to try to just get some ideas of what I want to make, or be inspired. But now it's just like, I'll just pop open SuperRare and just look at what all these absolute wizards are doing.
It's like a curated feed of some of the coolest, most forward-thinking artists around right now.
Oh, without a doubt.
Awesome, man. So I mean, you've been very successful, I'd say, in the NFT and crypto art space. Made a name for yourself here as well. Kind of, I'd say, carried that momentum from the VJing, that career, just straight over here. What would be some advice to people maybe just entering the space right now who might be a little bit overwhelmed with the marketplaces and feeling like they're a little fish in a big sea?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely daunting. Like, it's even now for me, I feel the urge to to try to overthink things, or to try to calculate my own trajectory. And it's like, I think the best advice I would give is just to put your best foot forward. Like, allow that any sort of experimentation you have, allow any amount of, I guess, uniqueness that you can pour into your work. Let that out. You know what I mean? It's easy to get discouraged, especially if you're posting something and you're not making what you want on it, or some of your stuff isn't selling. But I think it's important to remember that no matter who you are, if you're an accomplished artist and that in your heart you're pouring your heart onto the digital canvas, there will be a collector who will be into that. And it's like, you just can't get discouraged. You got to just keep making art, and the collector will find you. You know, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that's great advice, I'd say. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about maybe some technical stuff, some 3D tech.
Let's do it.
You use Cinema 4D mainly, right?
Yeah, I use mainly, well, usually all my work starts in ZBrush.
Cool.
You know, as far as, you know, creating the geometry and
Yeah.
I try to pack in a lot of the details and technical stuff in at the ZBrush level, because, you know, once I can move it over to Cinema 4D and Octane, there's like an additional layer. It's almost like an additional filter that I can take that geometry through and really bring out some of the details. Like I said, I'm not by any means a classically trained artist, so I'm kind of just doing this all by feel. What I often do is, you know, step by step, same in the ZBrush step, I try to get whatever I'm making looking as good as humanly possible, so that it might even be able to stand alone right at that level. And then I move on to texturing, and then I do the same. It's like I try to get it looking as good as humanly possible at every level, so that once I reach the final stage where it's, you know, rendering or animating or whatever, it's already, you know, been almost like vetted multiple times throughout the process.
Right. That's really cool. ZBrush is awesome. I'm very, very intimidated by that program still. I've tried to learn it a few times, and the first time I tried to learn it, I didn't realize everyone was using like a drawing tablet when I was watching the tutorials. So I was trying to copy them and like watch the tutorials using my mouse. And I was like, how are they doing this?
Well, there's a lot. The beautiful thing about ZBrush is there's a lot of cool ways to use ZBrush. I definitely 100% recommend using a tablet as well, because it can give you that. It gives you that kind of analog flow. You know what I mean? But no, you could totally use ZBrush with a mouse, especially with like the insert multi-mesh brush system, where you can just essentially take these libraries of geometry and, you know, populate them on your model instantly by just clicking and dragging and then moving them around. There's really just so like an infinite amount of detail you can pack into a 3D mesh using ZBrush. The UI is a little interesting to get a hold of, just because like keyboard shortcuts are, you know, a little different. There's a couple extra steps to get to certain stages, but it's learnable. I'm telling you. Like if you watch like Pavlovich's tutorials on YouTube, another guy, he does like the Ask ZBrush series, super helpful.
Cool.
You know.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check some of those out. I've been really wanting to get back into that. I feel like with my art, I'm getting to a point where I'm looking for more customization, texturing in Cinema 4D. You can do it, especially with Octane and the node system. You can do so much with it, and I love just deep diving in there and nerding out. But as far as like actual 3D models that I use and start with and stuff, I'm looking for that extra layer of customization.
Yeah, I recommend everyone like myself using bald naked people to definitely get ZBrush, because there's some amazing dirty things you can do to bald naked people in ZBrush.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Have you tried sculpting in VR at all? I was messing around with Adobe Medium last night and found that a little more intuitive than ZBrush, but a little bit maybe less accurate.
Yeah, I was messing with Medium back when it was like Oculus Medium before Adobe grabbed it. And I found it is way more intuitive for sure. You can't really get into as much detail, I feel, as far as, you know, well, yeah, just like, I don't know really how many subdivisions that it can handle. But say, for example, you have like an arm and you want to wrap a snake around it. Like, I just find it so much easier in Medium to just, you know, load up the brush. You know what I mean? Definitely like a use case for it. And it's definitely something I would like to get more into. There's a couple pieces where I use Medium as kind of a base and then brought it into ZBrush to really, you know, drive in the details. But like there's a couple of VR artists out there just absolutely murdering it. Giant Swan, for example, is like
This
Boom.
stuff's crazy, dude.
Fucking yeah, he's a really awesome dude too. If anyone listening hasn't checked out Giant Swan's work, for
Super
sure do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I someday I'd love to do like a whole scene just in VR. So like I still feel like VR is a little bit early. Like I feel like just this year, maybe the Quest 2 or something, has become actually accessible to like the average consumer, where they don't have to plug all these cords into their computer. It's more just like a standalone thing, and they can, you know, $300, which is not a bad price point for getting into VR, I'd say.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I feel like in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of like, I feel like VR innovation's been like this, and we're going to see it go like this all of a sudden with more people and artists starting to use it.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to kind of coincide with, the extra speeds we're getting with 5G and, just the ease of use of just being able to do it with your hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like the barrier for entry is getting lower and lower. With VR. Yeah, it's incredible. I can't wait to start. Like that's definitely something I'm trying to focus on a little bit this year is how to work a lot of those VR apps more into my pipeline.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, we'll do a few more technical questions because I think there's a lot of artists watching that we're enjoying that, and then we'll wrap it up here pretty shortly.
Oh, I see. Somebody said I use Medium and Gravity Sketch. Gravity Sketch is another one, by the way. That
cool. Really cool. I'll have to check that out. I have a few. There's the Quill app as well for Oculus. I have, which is a little bit more like drawing, I feel like, in 3D space.
Okay.
There's some cool applications for sure. So I've seen you mention Unreal Engine before. I think on Facebook, a few months ago, I saw you post an animation. Let's see if I can actually pull one up. Did you upload that to SuperRare by chance? Anything you've made in Unreal?
Yeah, I did a Quantum Logic Gate. And that's an Unreal animation.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that up real quick for everybody.
While you pull that up, I'll talk a little bit about it.
Sure, yeah.
But I feel a lot of guilt because I started using it, and now, like as of late, I've been kind of reverting back to Cinema 4D and Octane and trying to, just because that's Unreal is one of those programs where the barrier of entry is definitely a little bit higher. Yeah. But man, being able to render a 60 FPS video at 4K in like 2 minutes is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I saw I'm not super familiar with Unreal, so forgive me if it's number 4 or number 5 that's about to drop, or has dropped recently.
Yeah, Unreal 5 is coming out.
Yeah, over the summer, I believe I saw the preview, and it just looks absolutely epic, like what you can do in there, and I guess just like the real-time factor of it, where it renders in basically real time. Is this rendered with Octane inside of Unreal, or is this a native?
No, this is all this is all Unreal's native real-time renderer.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, it's just, for me, it's just very, very different. Like the material system, I'm just not like, I use the nodes completely for Octane.
Yeah, me too.
The node system is very easy to kind of digest and understand, whereas Unreal has quite a bit more to it. So I've kind of been relegated to using things like, Quixel Bridge and Mixer to try to replicate the textures I usually make in Octane. I would do that in something like Quixel Mixer, and which integrates pretty seamlessly with Unreal. So it's almost like I'm kind of cheating right now when I use Unreal, because I'm not really using it to its full potential.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's how you learn, though, right?
Yeah, that's how you learn, and I think I want to hit some like Skillshare classes and some different things with Unreal this year. I think is going to be.
I've accidentally been paying a monthly fee to Skillshare for like a year now, because I keep thinking, like, I'm gonna like deep dive on one of these programs and learn it,
Yeah.
and once you forget.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that reminded me I should do that too.
Yeah, I'm I try to live my life a little bit by the mentor system. So for anyone watching, I'm currently in search for a glorious Unreal mentor who can really help me get over a couple of humps. But yeah, I think that's going to be the future. I wouldn't be surprised to see like some of the like rendering engines like Octane and that kind of thing moving towards real time or introducing like a real time aspect to their renderer. I know Blender users are probably feeling pretty comfy with what's going on. Yeah, you know.
Dude, when I started 3D almost 4 years ago, Blender was not what it is now.
If I could do it all over again, I would abso-freaking-lutely begin with Blender.
I think I would too, honestly.
Yeah, and I think most people you ask who are like, you know, set in their ways of using Maya or Cinema 4D, you know, if you're paying attention to what's happening with Blender, I think pretty much everyone would agree. You know, like it's just, wow, it's powerful. You know, and it's free.
And it's free. And it's free.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Cool, man. So I think that about covers everything. I guess last question, what are your goals in the NFT space for the coming 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? I guess it's hard to see that far out because it's such a fast moving market right now.
I kind of take things day by day. I definitely have some plans in the pipeline. You know, I love to collaborate with other artists, so definitely some collaborations coming up in the works. You know, possibly something with Android Jones coming soon. And I would love to do another piece with Chemical. And I see Kimmy's in the chat. Maybe we can drag Kimmy Takamura into the NFT space a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I want to do some collabs, and I just want to make awesome art with awesome people, and you know, just continue to kind of facilitate this creative lifestyle, you know, where it's like every morning I can wake up and love what I'm doing and try to inspire as many other artist friends as I can to, you know, get into the space, try it out, and be the best they can be, you know.
Awesome, man. Well, it looks like you're doing
and a collab with you, by the way.
Yeah, we gotta get something going.
We gotta throw a little something down.
Yep, definitely down for that, man. Definitely down for that. Sweet. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that covers everything. It's a solid half hour of juicy Glass Crane information with some technical goodies sprinkled in there for all the artists.
And I'm an open book too to any artists, you know, listening. Feel free to DM me. You know, people were very generous and gracious to me, and you know, I didn't get to where I am or get any of the knowledge that I really have without other people helping me and doing so. So, you know, I always want to pay that forward.
Yep. Yeah, so, me too. Shout out everyone else that helped us.
Yeah. The list is just way too long. So y'all know who you are.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah. Okay, cool. That covers it. I think that was a successful first time me interviewing people live on YouTube, and appreciate the ease of the interview and all the good information.
I felt so comfortable, and this is just some good hangs, man. Good hangs.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you everybody that tuned in. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another artist or collector, and we'll be doing this again.
Oh, I didn't know you're doing collectors too. Can't wait for that.
Yep. I think that'll be cool. I think people will be interested in why collectors buy art, and each collector has such a unique mindset and way of going about it. I think there's some good stuff to dig into there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being my first guest on SuperRare Spotlight, and thank you SuperRare for entrusting me with representing them live.
Yeah. Quick shout outs to to Zach and my homie Tennessee Jed too for really being supportive to me, and Yeah, thank you to everyone at SuperRare. This is fucking incredible.
Yep. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.